and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I pray. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was just you and me. I thought
Testing.
you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything.
There we go.
Close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Try to fix this guy here. For some reason I'm getting a USB bandwidth issue. I'm not sure why, because I didn't have it before, but I must have I think adding the cam link on top of the HT Pro is probably doing it, so I'll have to fix that at some point. It seems to be working now, so. Alright. Where'd the beard go? I shaved it off. I also shaved off all my hair. Just got rid of all of it. Couldn't handle it anymore. Alright. Hard to tell if that music's too loud. It might be. I don't know. It's very loud in my headphones. Okay. Build a keyboard. Been forever. Oh god. A million stabilizers. Gonna build the Exent because it finally arrived a year late. It was supposed to be here a year ago. Group I got delayed for forever, and then it seemed like it was never gonna show up. Now it's here. Polycarb bottom. Oh, you know what? I fixed these cameras, so we should be able to see if this camera's working. Yeah, look at that. Cool. So, polycarb bottom, which is not cracked. Apparently a lot of the first batch that went out a few months ago were all cracked because they were shipped attached, screwed in, and they cracked in transit. Then they realized that was a problem, and they stopped doing that. And so, not cracked. PCB works as well. The people were having trouble with the LEDs on the PCBs. That also was not a problem on my board. Let's sharpen this up a little here. There we go. So the PCB works. Plastic's good. Polycarb, I don't know what the difference is. And the finish on the actual top is good too. So this is actually going to be a pretty straightforward build. I'm going to use 67 gram Zilents, but I only had 100 of these, and then I built the Pearl last time, which was a 44 key, something like that, 44 keyboard. So I lost enough of them. Sorry, I thought my stream just died. Did it die? I used 44 of them, so I don't have enough to cover this because I need like 67 for this. So I'm gonna do, I think I have about 47 or 50, something like that. I'm gonna put 50 on, and then I'm gonna put Telios in the other spots, and then I will swap the stems when I can get my hands on more Zilents. Stream's still working. All right. So I'll put the Zilents on modifiers, I guess, just so that it's not strange to actually type. And we need a 625. We need a single backspace and one left shift. So we need 2 of these guys. This one. Oh, alright, well, it's just all those. Okay, and then some Band-Aid. We'll mod these. Try to reduce that sound. Come out of there. Oh, it's stuck. Oh, well, this is just all the heart that goes on your wound. It's not gonna help me. A little bit there, but why did I keep this? Make any sense? Alright, I got a couple pieces in there. How many do I need? 2, 4, 6. 6. How many can I get out of this? I can get 4 out of that. I bet you I have enough. Yeah, I got enough. Alright. You know, honestly, actually, I bet I could just get, I bet I could get 6 right out of this. Let's just do that. Let's cut these round sets. So I redid my desk. It's bigger now. The top is bigger. I'm not gonna get 6 out of that, but I can get close. I don't want to use 2. I don't know if it'll matter, but I don't want to use 2 different Band-Aid types here. Oh, you know what? There's one little piece in here that I can use. So I redid my desk. I got rid of the Geek Desk, which is what it was on before. It was a Geek Desk Max frame, and and then I had a walnut top on top of it. So it's pretty big, 66 inches by 32 deep, which for a desk is pretty big. But what I found was, one, I didn't stand up very much. Especially doing stuff like this. I don't stand when I'm streaming and stuff. And then the other problem was, with the standing desk, you have to, everything attached to the desk, everything around the desk has to be slack enough that if you raise the desk up, it won't yank something off the desk. So like any wires that are connected to the wall from the desk, anything like that has to have enough slack so that it can go from, you know, top to bottom. I only ever used it in 2 positions, sitting and standing. Some people, you know, do like a mid-level, I guess. I don't know. There were 4 programmable slots on there, so I guess you could have a bunch of, or I guess you have multiple heights of people. That makes way more sense. Anyway, I never actually found that I wasn't standing very frequently. And it was annoying because I redid the rig here. How many did I get out of that? I got 5, didn't I? Damn it. Great. Okay. So I was never standing. And I've got, you know, this camera up here. I've got a camera there. I've got the close-up camera. They are now on a C-stand, and I've got some lights in here now to sort of even out the lights so that we can see. It's a little hot still in the middle, obviously. As you can see where the light's reflecting there. But setting all this stuff up was a pain because the desk needing to move. Let's get this a little bit closer to my mouth. The desk needing to move was causing everything. It was hard to wire. So I got rid of the geek desk legs. This actually seems worse, doesn't it? Let's actually come out and around here. Got rid of the geek desk legs and just went with some standard, there we go. Some standard steel legs, new top. Now it's, that's a little hot. Let's go back just a little. I'll never have this right. It'll always be this thing where I switch it every time. Standard steel legs, new top, and the new top is now 84 inches across. So where it used to end 20 inches, I went 20 inches more so that the desk goes over this kind of little shelf that I've got here. So now all of this streaming stuff can be off to the side here. And all the rigging here can hang over it without hanging directly over my desk when I work. And I replaced my display setup. I used to have 2, and now I've got 3 with 1 vertical. I'll take some pictures at some point, but it's much more comfortable for this now. I got a lot more working space, and I upgraded the camera, which maybe you could tell if you go watch an old stream and then immediately watch this stream. I was actually using what I'm using for my face now, that little Canon camcorder, which is not great. It's not very sharp, and it does not do well even in nice light. It kind of looks bad. I'm using it for my face because my face doesn't matter as much, but I finally got my hands on the what is this thing? A7? A7? S7? A7. Sony A7 III, which just came out. It's cheaper than the A7 IIs, which was the previous, like, everybody's favorite camera for this sort of thing. It was cheaper than that, but there was a wait to get it. It was back ordered when it first got released and took a while to get it, but I got it. It's so much sharper, and it can do 4K. It could also do 60 frames per second, but the close-up camera can't do 60 frames per second, so I've got to eventually replace that so I can just switch everything over to 60 frames per second, because I think that would actually be pretty cool if I could do the stream in 60, because and I think it would I don't know, it looks better at 60, so that's sort of the next goal with this, is to just get everything up to 60. All right. God, this thing is spaghetti. Where are we going? We're going on this one. Wondering, let's here. Let's go close up for a second here. So it's a very pretty PCB. It's a nice solder mask. Looks nice. It's got not like the worst number of options here, so you know, it's not terrible. This close-up camera probably should be panned up a little, but I'm gonna go with the pretty standard layout, regular backspace. I don't like split backspace, and I'm gonna go with 3. I think I don't really have a choice here. I think this one is 3 1.25s and 2 1.5s, which is not my preference, but I don't think I have a choice because this has got an arrow cluster built in and then a 175 shift. And then a standard shift on this side. Okay, so let's put the band-aids on and get going here. I think this is actually going to be a pretty quick build, honestly, but I say that every time and then it takes forever because it's still, like, stupid stuff like this takes forever. Just getting the backing off a band-aid when it's been cut is like frustratingly difficult. I'm trying not to cut my fingertips here because then I just end up having to use the band-aid. All right, there we go. So there's 2 keyboards. Well, I'm backlogged a bit here. The Exent just came, but I jumped ahead in line because I've been waiting for it for so long and it's such a unique looking board. But I'm backlogged because I have a cleat to build. And I have a... so I have a cleat to build, whatever it is, cleat, and I have a... I have a ZZ, I think it's a ZZ96, which also was about a year late. And I'd initially planned on building it for my sister, because she had wanted me to build a custom for her for a long time. So I bought all these parts, I planned it all out, and then the buy got, or the guy who was running the buy disappeared. And like had a bunch of personal problems, which is like not my problem, but whatever. And then took forever to ship. It finally shipped a few months ago, and by then my sister took a job at a different company where she was like the company does like flexible desking, where people don't always have the same desk every day. And so it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to have an expensive custom keyboard that she would have to lug around to a different desk every day, or potentially accidentally leave in one place and then somebody, you know, takes it or whatever. So I sort of scrapped building that for her, and then it became a, hey, should I just build this for myself? But I don't really want a 96 because I don't use, I don't really ever use a numpad. And if I do, I just grab, I have like a little, I just built like a one-off minivan numpad at one point. I would just rather use that only when I need it and not take up the desk space. So that's just sitting around. At some point maybe I'll build it and raffle it off or sell it, or I don't know, something. Jeez. And then the real one now that I'm waiting for is the what is it, M60A, I think is what it's called. M60A. It's Rama's new board. That one I'm super excited for. And as much as it surprises me to say this, I kind of want to build a TKL. Or, I don't want to build a TKL. I want to build a TKL size. No, yeah, I want to build a TKL. I was gonna say, I thought I accidentally said win keyless, because that doesn't make any sense to me. I get why people like it, I suppose, but that's not really for me. I use my keyboard between both Mac and PC, so to me that key is important. And actually, it's important to me in Windows as well, so I'm actually not sure why people don't want it. I don't know, I'm not a common enough Windows user to know the pros and cons to why you wouldn't want a Windows key. I'm sure there's reasons. But excuse me, but I use the key enough. Plus on a Mac, it's the command key, which you can't live without. So I wouldn't want to get rid of that key. But anyway, I do want to build a TKL, and mostly because I'm now using the keyboards that I build frequently, switching live between Mac and PC. Now that I have a PC on my desk, or my PC display on my desk, and it's not only hooked up to the TV in here, I'm actually using it on a daily basis. And I'm using a 75% board that I built. It's actually the first board I ever built. A Win Keyless, the company, not the design. Win Keyless, a B Mini, I think is what that's called. Never understood the naming of those. Shoot, I needed 8 of these because there's a return key here. I have to do 2 more bandits. So I've been using that because I need the function keys for PC for gaming. It's not really reasonable if you play a lot of games to use a 60% or even a 65% board for playing PC games, because lots of games have stuff bound to function keys that you can't unbind easily for various reasons. So I need those keys, so I'm thinking about... I don't like the, I've come to not like the 75% layout. I don't like the function keys butting up against the number row. Aesthetically, I think it's better, but usability-wise, I don't like it. All right, gonna have to look at this and see where that spacebar is gonna have to go. This is always the part that's the hardest on this, is just determining where a spacebar goes on a board like this. So anyway, I want to build a TKL, and I've been seeing the Kira on Geekhack. I'm hoping, sounds like that's gonna be a always going in backward here. It sounds like that's going to be a raffle, though. So, who knows. There's also Rama. Good lord. Rama also has a TKL planned. Will there ever be a day where I don't accidentally put this in backward the first time? And then have to take it out and try again to remember. There we go. Oops, stay in there. All right. So yeah, I think that's going to be the next. So the M60, I think. The M60 is like the next cool board that I'm super jazzed about the design of. And that will probably be my daily work keyboard, where I will use that keyboard primarily during the day, and I'll actually hot swap the keyboard if I'm going to be doing less intense work. Jeez, look at the shape of these holes. And then I think a TKL for, boy, this is hard to determine where these go. So I think this is gonna go way far over here. You know what? I'm gonna need keycaps for this. I always need keycaps for this. This is the top, by the way. I went with gray. They re-anodized this, I guess, the first round. Well, it's kind of funny. The first round. The first round, they showed photos on, or not the first round, but when they finished the anodization, they showed photos on Geekhack of the result. And not to toot my own horn, but I was the one who replied saying that gray looks splotchy as hell. because in the photo, it was really gross looking. Like it had, at first it looked like it was just wet or had handprints all over it, but I knew that couldn't be the case because no one would take photos of it and show photos if they had wet hand. It didn't make it, it looked like it was a real problem, and I commented saying, hey, this looks to me like it's got really splotchy thing. Is it just the photograph? A couple other people chimed in, yeah, actually that does look pretty bad, and then there was a, hey, we're pausing all potential shipping of gray to re-anodize. So, sorry, not sorry, I guess. Because it turned out really well with a refinish, and I have no idea how bad it would have been if it had not been refinished, so I'm happy about that. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna just jam these on here so we get an idea of the placement of these, so I know where to put the stab band-aids. Alright, so it goes, yeah, these are on this side. Oops, where are you? Upside down, there you are. Alright. This guy, I think I'm gonna use this, we'll see. I'll see how it looks when it's all done, but I think I'm gonna use this Maxkey Berserk. Berserk? I can't remember. Berserk, I think, that I've had sitting around for a couple of months. Okay. I think those are the right spots for those. And then we got some big, ugly ones here. I really don't like 1.5 modifier keys, but not a lot of layout options here. That seems wrong, and it is. Actually, these seem wrong. That's right. That we don't have a choice there. Okay, that seems good. That seems good. Which would mean where the hell is... Alright, I think that's it. It's a tight fit. Alright. So that would put you there. Which would mean that you have to go there? I think. Where's the space bar? Give me a space bar. Jeez. Yeah, I can't see how it could be anyone other than that. Though. Good lord. Alright. Pretty sure that's it. Alright. Let's take these off. Pretty sure that's it. Well, I don't think it could physically be any other now that I look at it. Yeah, it can't be this one. It definitely isn't that one. Okay, well that would have been easy. Oh. I guess it, nope. It has to be that one. That would have been easier if I just looked at that because it's physically impossible for it to be anything else. We'll use different band-aids for this, I guess. Okay. It's good enough. This. I don't have a clock turned on my PC, so I don't know what time Okay, you know, I think the slowest part, I think it's actually faster to solder than it is to take the backing off of Band-Aids. I've already forgotten which one it was. That one, right? Yeah, it has to be. Okay.
Chasing whatever kills for so long. I forgot how it feels in the dark of night. Tabletops counting eyes in the early hours. Stone cold inside. Banging drops, dancers, never needing answers. We wander all alone, but we can't find the street lights gone. We wander all alone.
All right. Done. Boy, it's so tedious. Honestly, I should just start doing the Band-Aid modding off stream because it's so tedious. And now we get to do this fun part. All right, let's try out this new screwdriver. Huh? All right. Now, this is a ES120. It's a oops. It's a fancy screwdriver, and it has a screen and everything, but this one's actually broken. This is one I just got. Excuse me, it's broken. The gimbal or the sensor inside of it goes the wrong way. So I have to get it replaced, but we'll use it anyway. So you're supposed to be able to turn it, you know, you hold the button, and when you turn right, it goes right, and when you turn left, it goes left, and it has a gyroscope to determine how far it should go. When I turn right, mine goes left, and when I turn left, mine goes right. So it's righty-loosey, lefty-tighty, which every school child knows is backward. So I'm going to use it temporarily until my new one comes, so we got to go right. That's pretty silly. That's so cool, though. What a waste of money. All right. This whole thing is a waste of money, top to bottom, so I figured why not have also an electronic screwdriver, you know? If we've gone this far, I mean, I'm building an Exent. It's a year late. What the hell? Did this thing just start going the correct way? No, it did not. So why is it? There we go. You know, Exent's a year late, mechanical keyboard, custom kit. I'm building it on a stream on YouTube. At this point, electronic screwdriver, why not? Why not? You only live once. Right? That's what I've heard. That's what kids are always saying. It's actually pretty neat. I don't know that it's saving me much time, but it's cool. Oh. The further you turn it, the faster it goes. It's pretty neat. I will fully admit it's pretty neat. So what did I need here? Backspace, enter key, space. This guy got one. I got one. Two. So I was one short on everything. I just somehow forgot about the return key. That's fine. Still have another one. God, now I'm gonna need more stabilizers for the next build. Thought I had enough for everything. Zeal's out of town for the whole month. It's very satisfying doing this. I like that a lot. It's very cool. All right, here we go. I'll do the world's quickest lube on these because got to do it on stabilizers. It would be a mistake not to, but this is like, again, the most tedious part of all builds is just doing like the little housekeeping crap like this every time. And it's the same every time too, so like basically no matter what keyboard I'm building, I'm still doing this every time. It honestly, it's the worst part of the build process, and I think it's the part that makes me tend to not stream as much as I would actually like to, because I just think, oh, that means I've got to go I've got to go do all the legwork. And I could do the legwork off stream, but it sort of defeats the purpose of streaming the keyboard build if I'm not doing half the build on the stream. I mean, yeah, it's probably better from an entertainment perspective, but I don't really think this is that entertaining to begin with. And second of all, from an archival perspective, which is the primary reason I like doing this, it would be a little silly if every time somebody found one of these build videos in a YouTube search, when they were looking for how to build a custom keyboard, if the first half was, yeah, so off stream I did a bunch of stuff, so do all that yourself. You know, it doesn't really make sense with the purpose of making this type of video, I guess is the way I would say it. So the nice thing is, if you're not watching live, which most people who watch these videos are not watching live, 99% of them are watching them, you know, just statistically are watching them after the fact. The good news is, you can fast forward. And I think what I'll start doing is actually putting links in the description with, like, you know, actual build starts at. So people can skip ahead if they want. If they don't want to watch the housekeeping, they don't have to watch it. I think that would be probably a good idea. Alright, so we've got spacebar, shift, backspace. How did I end up with... How did I end up 2 stems short? 1, 2, 3. Oh, there it is. The thing I will never do on a stream, I promise, is lube an entire keyboard. Unless I were to do it not live as part of some compilation video, and then I would like triple time it, just time lapse it, which it was probably interesting on its own, and I'm pretty sure the Top Clack guys have done that sort of thing where they show how long it actually takes by triple timing it or whatever, and it takes a long time. It's very tedious, it takes a long time, and frankly, I wouldn't do it at my desk if I was going to do it. I would take the whole, what I usually do is I take the whole thing apart, take all the switches apart first, put them into buckets, basically, and then I just sit in front of the TV late at night while the kids are sleeping, and I lube them, put them back together, and then I do it all in one go, or all in 2 goes, or whatever. So that way I'm not going to sit here at this space and do it. It's just not as comfortable. Alright, what was I doing? Okay, so that's basically done. Let's just put a little bit, we'll put a little bit on them as we put them back together. Where's the lid? Alright, here we go. Yeah, the other thing that sucks about this is, like, no matter what, I'm also I'm always getting lube on my desk pad, which, you know, it's what it's designed for, but it also still, it's kind of gross. Okay. One. I just gotta try to remember which way these go each time so I don't have to redo this that way. Okay. That's one. I'll lube the wire as well, but for right now, let's just get these back together. Could just, it's like fresh in my mind that which way these go. So I'm just gonna actually put all of these, yuck. Put all these in while I have in my head which way that is. This one. Where'd you go? So I also have this, got this S60 PCB, Centrex 60 PCB, which I've used in the, really? Right on the new walnut desk? Great. Nope, and that's backward now. I've got the Centrex 60 PCB that I've been meaning to put in that clip for a long time because I want to hole tight it. Tissue. I want to put hole tights in that Centrex 60 and put it in the clip case so that I can test switches more easily. And the compatibility list says that the Centrac 60 hold tight fit, the hold tight fit is perfect. And I have the hold tights that it claims are perfect, but they seem extremely loose to me. But I'm wondering if that's just because I'm not pushing them in all the way when I'm just eyeballing it. So I'm hoping that I can test that out. Because I've had those hold tights sitting around for a long time, and I'd like to use them so that I can actually try some different switches. There's a bit of a kind of a switch bazaar going on right now. There are a lot of switches coming out that are all similar that I'd like to try different variants of, like the box switches specifically. I really love the box whites. I bought some box jades. I have some box navies, but then people were saying, oh, the box navies have sticky problems or something, and so I didn't end up building those in the last build because I was nervous about it. But the nice thing about a hold tight build would be that I could just try them out for a while, and if they are no good, I could yank them without having to desolder, which is like one of my least favorite things to do. Band-aid. So that would be a new thing for me because I've never had to install hold tights before. So I'll do that next time I stream. And last one. Go in there, thank you. Okay. Make sure they move, and they do. Cool. All right. Now let's just throw some lube on the wire. Oh, you know what I just did? That's so dumb. Oh my lord. If you're watching this and you're smarter than I am, which is a high likelihood, you'll notice that I just made 4 stabilizers and I only needed 3 plus the spacebar. Okay. Shift, backspace, return, and wrong. Let's take this out. Put this bar in instead. That's why I didn't need that other. That's why I thought, oh, I'm a bar short. No, I'm not. Yeah. I really love these. Now, I have heard that people have had shorts with the Exent and screw-in stabilizers. So we are going to put a little bit of block on underneath on the screws to make sure they don't bridge anything. Okay. All right, I think we're done with that. Close this up, thank God. Worst part is over. Get rid of you. Okay. Impossible not to get a little bit of lube on your hands. It's so gross. Okay, let's stick these guys in. Go in there. Boy, that's a tight fit. Holy moly. Go in. Oof. All right. Good. And return. No, return's upside down. Oh, in there. Okay. Shift. Oh yeah, I guess I could see how this... Oh, well, okay. I could definitely see shorting on some of these. Holy crap. Wow. Yeah, here. Let's see if I can show this. Where's my... where are my tweezers there? You can see if I can get this to focus. Let's see if I can get it in the right spot here. I'm working on a mirror, sorry. Oh my lord. Okay, let's look at this one right here. Focus, you bastard. Focus. Focus. Okay. This one. Good God. This is like, this camera's just far enough away that this is very difficult. All right, here we go. Let's see if we get a focus there. Yeah? This spot right here. This is the screw hole for the autofocus. Is like one of the worst things that humans ever invented. Try this way so I can block enough of the camera to get it to. Okay. And I'm on the wrong side. There we go. Okay. Here. This is the hole for the screw, and you can see it's eclipsing the the hole. So I'm in the hole for the stabilizer. You can see it's eclipsing the hole with the contact with the pad for the switch. So that's 100% gonna bridge that switch if I screw that in on that spot. Unless I put a piece of electrical tape there, which is what I'm gonna do. That's poorly designed, that hole. That line up there is poorly designed. And I can see why it would short. And so you'd basically get, what is that? The backspace key would constantly be going. The left shift also has a hole that's basically right up against the pad. And the return key would short 2 LEDs probably. Okay. Okay. Sure. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll fix that problem. We will fix it. Alright. Just make sure those band-aids are in the right spot, because I was a little sloppy with them. No, good. Okay. Get some tape. This actually isn't electrical tape. I'm just realizing I don't have electrical tape in here right now. I don't know where the hell I put my electrical tape, but I've got some rubber tape, or whatever the hell this is called. This should be fine to stop it from happening. Let me give it a shot. No, I'll have to test the board afterward. So there's a few of these that I don't think have this issue. Oh, is this screwdriver tip not magnetic? That would suck. It's not? Really? Nice. Oh my god. Alright, hold on. I have to grab one. Office is always in pristine condition until I start streaming, and then I throw everything all around me, make a huge mess. Where are you, screwdriver? Oh, you know what? These screws just aren't magnetic. Though, this is a nicer screw bit, so we'll use that anyway. Alright. So, there's a couple of these I don't think will be a problem. The space bars won't be a problem, so let's do those first. This is weird that I gotta go left to screw it in. Oh. Alright. I have a Stream Deck here, but it's not programmed. When I redid the desk, I added one, but I haven't actually programmed it, so I'll do that before the next stream, so I don't have to keep using the mouse to switch scenes and stuff. It's really dumb. Okay. So those ones are fine. The left shift's probably fine. It's pretty far away, so I guess we'll have to just test it afterward. Worst case, I can also... Oh no, I won't be able to fix this if this goes after the fact, so I should test this before I... God, this screwdriver's real cool. Alright, that is so close that I think that will probably be a problem. So, I'm gonna take this out, and we're gonna put a tiny piece of rubber underneath it. My theory here is if I can just get a very small piece of rubber tape here between the screw and the pad, then it should be fine. You know, this tape is not great for this. I thought I could make this work, but this may not. This is very thick, whereas, well, okay. That should work. Nobody's gonna look at the bottom of this anyway when I'm done. Also, I'm being stupid. Of course I could fix this after the... Oops. What the hell happened? Oh, I pushed this stabilizer out. There we go. Of course I could fix this after the fact. I don't know what I was thinking. The plate's on the other side, so I can test this, and if it doesn't work, I could just fix the... I could add a different... What the hell is going on here? Go in there. There we go. I'm betting that will work, because that is definitely not at all what I had hoped for. Alright, you know what? We'll fix this after the fact, because it doesn't actually matter too much right now, because I can fix the stabilizers after with actual electrical tape when I find it. But basically the gist is just I'm going to need a small square of electrical tape, or I could use nylon washers, which I just don't happen to have. Otherwise I would use those. I was trying to order them the other day, but they're a little hard to get in non-insane quantities. I don't need 5,000 nylon washers. Either way, we'll fix that after the fact. This top one is going to be the one that's certainly going to short, because it's just straight up touching right now. But we'll deal with it later. Okay, I've come around on this screwdriver. It's not silly, it's awesome, and everyone should have one. Damn it, stabilizer, stay in. It's very cool. It's heavy as hell, but it's very cool. Okay, last one. You know what? I already did a little bit of programming on this thing just to make sure it was working. So there is one benefit, which means I can plug it in and just make sure it doesn't create a million backspace keys. Let's open up Atom here. Let me test this real quick. Where the hell are you? Is it under GitHub? I really don't like the way Windows puts stuff in folders in the Windows menu. Alright, here we go. Get off here. Jeez. Close the welcome guide. Stop opening the welcome guide. Alright, here we go. So we're going to plug this in. Waiting for Windows to recognize it. I've never plugged it into this PC. Oh, that's not a good sign. It's now the LEDs are not working at all, but they worked yesterday. Oh. Could this be because I have shorted? Oh, now it's not working at all. Okay. Cool. Let's just sanity check this real quick. I'm gonna plug this other keyboard back in, because this is odd. I had this tested and working. Let's just grab the Surface Book real quick. Alright. That's what I usually use to do tests of hardware, just because it's convenient. I can put it anywhere I need it to be. Let's see here. Jeez, okay, well, this was working. This is a bad sign. This is a bad sign. Bad sign. Let's open up Bootmapper and see if it recognizes it. Oh boy. Okay. That's not good. I didn't realize that the problems were this bad with the shorting. So let's undo these screws. Let's start with just the one that I think is the problem. I'm betting it's that one. It's the only one that actually looks like it's bridged. Yeah, that's how bad it is. That it's that bridged that the minute you screw it in, the entire keyboard stops working. So unscrewed, works just fine. Screwed in, it completely doesn't work at all. That is nuts. I don't understand why this was a thing that happened. Wow, that's really bad. I'm actually not even sure. A washer would solve this. I don't think electrical tape will solve this. Because I think electrical tape, I'm not gonna be able to get it in where I need it to be to prevent this from happening. So, What we're gonna do is we're just not gonna screw this stabilizer in right now, and I'm gonna have to get a washer for that. But that shouldn't be a blocker here. So it's good to know that everything else is working. So let's here. Thank you, Surface. You're useful 3 times a year. I actually really like this hardware, but I almost never use it. Okay. So we'll leave this unscrewed. Try not to lose the screw. And I will get a washer for this because that's no good. All right, we don't need you anymore, Adam. You, okay. Where's the... Oh god, the plate's built into the top. I forgot. Oh, that's sorrow. I guess I could technically take the plate out, but I'm trying to think. I don't like the idea of building it inside of this. Yeah, I don't like that. So I'm gonna take the plate out. I don't want to do any damage to the surface. Double and having it been, it was refinished. I want to ruin the finish right off the bat. Let's try to find the hex for this. Alright. Let's take the plate out. This. Oh, very shallow. You know what? It's screwed in really loosely, so I think actually I'm not crazy for wanting to do this. I don't know why I would thought anybody would be doing it directly inside there. All right. So this is the bottom. This is the top. But upside down. There we go. Okay. Put that aside. Okay. Let's see. Alright. Bit of a goofy fit here. Do they want... Oh, jeez. That's a really... Alright, well let's switch this in. Trying to think if I'm going to be short on those 20. Start with Telios on the outside. I'm going to replace these. Let's do... We'll just do Telios for the switches that have stabilizers too, because it's one. Now, when I did my 40 board, I swore I would no longer put switches in after soldering some switches, because I hit that annoying thing where like it's really tough to get the additional switches in. So this time I am going to just do the whole set of switches first. Let's see. I don't want to screw this up. I have to go to the right side of this. Yeah. It would help if I wasn't holding it sideways. There we go. Okay. Just also trying to be picky and choosy about the keys. I do want to use this keyboard in the interim until I want to be able to use it while I'm waiting for the Zilents to show up. So I don't want to put these Telios anywhere that is important to me. So the 5% on the right, I don't care about. because I actually would prefer this did not have this 5%. I've come to realize that 65% is my least favorite layout. I don't ever use that 5%, and they just actually end up throwing my like where I keep I put my hands on the home row, but frequently I'll find, because of the way the keyboard is shifted one key left off center, if I'm doing something, especially if I'm not sitting centered at my desk, I'll put my hands down on the keyboard and I'll actually be one key set to the right, and that's annoying. And there's some scratches in my plate, but whatever. You won't see them when the switches are on. All right, I also never use my right shift. Let's see. Where's this going? So if this one's here, sorry, again, trying to figure out where a 1-5 shift key needs to go here. Well, it's definitely not to the right side. It's the left side, okay. Where the hell did I put that Telia? So left side of this. There we go. Okay. And we can start putting in the Zilents in the alphanumerics. Put this thing up off the... This thing is the Gateron feet always fit really nice and snug into PCBs, so putting switches in is so easy. Because they don't fall out, they're not loose. It's the biggest downside that I have on the box switches, is that the feet do not fit tight into a PCB. And so the switches tend to shift around a lot. And it makes soldering a real pain because I don't want any misalignments. I really don't like misalignments of switches, because you can see it once you put the caps on. So I get really obsessive about it, which means that I have to press really hard when I solder, because I gotta hold everything in exactly the right spot. But with the Gateron housings, they hold really tight. The feet hold really tight in the PCB, so you can basically just put them in and they stay straight, which is great. They stay straight, which is great. Okay. I definitely don't want to run out of these, so I'm gonna start doing alphas just to make sure. And then soldering, and then I will fix that stabilizer later, because I need to get washers. One downside also to the transparent housing is sometimes, depending on the angle, it's a little hard to tell if you actually got it all the way in, because it's hard to see. So like this guy's being a jerk because he doesn't want to go all the way into the plate. Ow. I didn't get that guy all the way in, but I'm hoping I can force it in if I can get some offset from the other ones. Okay, this is going to be a problem. I have this problem every time, and I think that the solution here is to put all the switches into the plate and then put the plate onto the PCB, but I really don't like that because it's hard to get everything in all in one go. But the problem that I'm having here is the problem I have every time, which is switches in the middle don't sit all the way into the plate because they're pushing on the PCB and the plate is low. Let's see if I can get this one in. If I can get the middle guy in, that usually resolves the problem. Now, see, because the plate is... Alright, there we go. Just a little bit of extra pressure, and now it's in the right spot. So now the other one should go in okay. There we go, yeah. Alright, this music is really awful. If I didn't care about VOD, or DVR or whatever, I didn't care about recording these and keeping them for playback later, I would just play real music like most Twitch game streamers and stuff do, because they just don't care if their VOD gets silenced, because their primary use case is live. But for me, my primary use case is recorded, which means if I don't use royalty-free music, this would all be silent, which just kind of defeats the purpose. So unfortunately, that means we have to listen to royalty-free music, of which the selection is abysmal. So I apologize. These are 67-gram Zilents. In the past, I used to do always 62-gram Zelios. When I first got into making mechanical keyboards, all my first keyboards are all 62-gram Zelios, because I was coming from not having used mechanical keyboards before, using a lot of, you know, what they call it, scissor switches on like MacBook keyboards, which are very soft, and I was a little bit nervous to go to a really heavy spring. Now in hindsight, using 62, it's too mushy. So I went up to 67 with these, and 67 feels about right. And then as soon as I can get my hands on more 67s, I will replace the Telio stems and springs with the 67-gram Zilents in those spots, but alas, I do not have enough for now. In fact, I'm starting to get nervous that I planned this poorly and I'm not even gonna have enough for the alphas here. All right, see, now we're back in the same spot here. I can't get these into the plate. There we go. You know what, let's do the same thing. Put one in the middle and pull the plate off a little so that it's in there. There we go. God, this plate is sharp. So I think my last build, the Pearl build, if I remember correctly, the biggest mistake I made was I finished the whole build and then realized I hadn't soldered one switch, which is pretty good. Hoping I don't make that same mistake now. Okay. Oh boy. Well, I guess it depends on how frequently I use certain numeric characters, because I'm going to run out of switches before I cover the whole thing. And I'm going to be close. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to be so close. Looks like there's about 5 more. Oh, I've got some sitting here. Okay, cool. I think I have enough. And what do I have left? I've got 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I have more than I thought. 9, 10, oh, 11. Okay. So let's do this guy. Okay. Just trying to think of all the keys I use on a daily basis for work. I want to try to get those covered. Work being writing Swift. I use tab a lot, that's for sure. Good. Okay. Gotta look at where this goes. It's the, oops, it's the middle one here. Okay. Make sure that's right. It is. checking tolerances here to make sure everything is off the plate as much as, or on into the plate as much as it should be. I don't want any switches that are not seated all the way. See, it's like this whole row doesn't appear to be as seated. I can't tell if that's a reflection thing though. No, see, those switches are floating a little bit. PC's screen just went to sleep. That's good. Alright, that's pretty good. Yeah. Alright. How many more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, let's do the arrow cluster, even though I don't really use it that much. And then we'll do we'll do the command key on each side. Trying to decide which are more useful, because having return and backspace and left shift on non-Zilents is going to be a little weird. Screw it, it's probably fine. Let's put these on the command keys. So I gotta go back to this nonsense again. Let's put this here. And then gotta put these back together just to figure out which they go to. Definitely goes there. Which means this one goes there. Okay. Except I want to put... Ouch. Got myself good, that one. Come out of there yet, bastard. I accidentally put both here. I meant to put one on each side. They really didn't want to come out. Jesus. Ah, what a pain in my ass. I don't want to break this switch. I don't have any to spare. Alright, you know what? Because of this, I don't want to break it because I have none. I'm just going to leave it, it's fine. Alright, now let's do these ones. I'm gonna replace the stuff soon anyway. It's fine. That goes there. Goes there. Ah, I had one more. How did that happen? Damn it! Oh, and I can't get this one out now. You bastards. Alright, this one actually will come out. Ouch. Good. Good. Nope. Get in there. There. Okay. Well, I'm in here. Just gonna make sure I didn't somehow screw up. Alignment-wise. Good. Good. Okay. And left shift. So no, it's not. Right size. 7.5. This one. Cool. All right, that's that. Take off these caps. Okay. Let's turn this guy on. Okay. Solder a few of these. Quite a bit of an arch to this. Just making sure. Got everything in here. Yeah, let's just do a check of legs. Pins, I should say. There. Nope. One's bent. One is missing. Damn it. Right in the middle of the board, too. Oh. What a pain. Oh, damn it. Should be using this one. Alright. So what I'm going to do with this one, I guess I also just accidentally broke the housing, is I'm going to take the spring. Oops, I broke the housing accidentally when I was trying to take it out, because I don't know why, but I was using tweezers instead of this thing. I forget what this thing is called. So we're just going to take the stem, swap it. I lost my switch top remover. It's in here somewhere, but when I was redoing my desk, it must have been sitting on it, and I set it somewhere like an idiot. I gotta find it, because that's one of my favorite little tools. Alright. No, I've never actually looked at the Zilent with the extra little rubber in there. It's interesting. Alright. It's the one I didn't break. Is it? hard to tell. Which is the one I broke? This one, okay. Alright. Good. Okay. Hopefully that's the only one I didn't notice the legs were bent on. Nope, there's another one. God damn. Bad luck. Alright, just one more here. Try not to break the housing here. Jeez. Okay. Should have checked them before I put them in. That was dumb. Fixed. Alright, good. Get this out of the way. Just gonna toss this switch entirely because I'll forget that it's broken. End up using it like an idiot. Alright. Where's the solder? There it is. Alright, let's do... We'll just start with the corners. Let's just push this bit down again here. Okay. Lighting in here is a little weird for this. Like directly lit down, causing some shadows. Yeah, some of the tolerances on this PCB are a little ridiculous. It was just too close together. Like, that one right there, that pad is really close to the, whatever that is, diode or resistor. Try to stay on the other side of those. Let's see if this is a little bit out of focus. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to chat. Teal also do not know what the other switches are. The other ones are Zilents. And yeah, they have little feet on them that go into the PCB, right? And on the Gateron switches, which are what the Zeal switches all use as housing, the feet are thick and they stick really well in the PCB. If you're using switches with other housing, like the box switches, for instance, the way that I align them is I put in the corners first, and I press down. I make sure they're as square, as straight as possible. I press really hard while soldering So I basically like hold the PCB and the plate together really tight with the switch exactly where I want it while soldering, which is a little difficult. For plate mount, I'm trying to think if I've ever actually done. I don't think I've had a board that was plate mount. I wasn't paying attention. I just accidentally soldered a foot. Yeah, I don't think I've done a plate mount keyboard. I think I've always had the option to use a plate. I mean, they're plate mount switches, but yeah, the feet touch the PCB, which is always I've always had the option, thankfully. That was real dumb. I melted the foot on that because I wasn't paying attention, because I was thinking about plate mount versus. Good God, these tolerances. Jesus. There's like a millimeter between most of these pads here, if even. Yuck. You know what? All right. I'm gonna test something really quickly because when I wasn't paying attention and I accidentally soldered one of the legs on the switch, I touched the pad next to it, and I want to see if I need to re-solder suck that to get it off. It doesn't look like I do, but I just want to plug this in and make sure that switch isn't shorting. Oh, it still works. It's good. Oh, I was holding a switch the whole time. Which, Jesus, those LEDs. What was that? 7? 9? No, it's still good. Okay. Alright. That was pretty dumb. So it was like 5 minutes after I said, I won't make a mistake this time, and then I soldered the foot. Yeah, let's see if I could get a close-up of this. Where is it? God, I need to somehow mirror this for my own view so that I can see it. You see it? It's down in the right corner there. Right here. See that? That's the leg of the switch, the leaf, and that's the plastic foot that I accidentally touched with the solder gun and melted. It didn't really impact anything, but it's pretty stupid. So, congratulations to me. Job well done. It's like I gotta be a vascular surgeon here to get these pads near some of these. Jesus. I need those goggles surgeons wear, or the headset with the magnifying goggles on them, because this is intense. God, they're like right up against these. I don't know if those are resistors or diodes. You know, there's a reason I don't make the PCBs, but I definitely don't want to bridge those because. Or hell, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I'm crazy and it won't matter. I don't know. It looks like it would matter to me, but who knows? Still on my first roll of solder, and I've made like 12 keyboards. Solder's a good investment. I don't know what it is. It's something about the PCB mask on this is like black and reflective in a way that's making the feet of the switches. There's something about, maybe it's the light I added. both the leaf feet, the legs of the switches that I actually need to solder, and the plastic feet that hold the switch into the PCB from this angle look the same. And the pads for the actual leaf feet and the switch plastic feet are both ringed in brass or gold, whatever this is. So from this angle, I keep almost soldering the plastic feet. Which I've made 8 boards. I've never had that happen before. I don't know what it is about the color of this that's doing it to me. I think it's actually that light, which is insanely bright. Look right at it. Now I have a white spot in my vision. That's good. Will you work with that much solder? That doesn't seem like enough. All right. Well, you definitely didn't get enough. I'm coming to really like the smell of solder, which seems terrible. Why am I stuck in close up here? I gotta get this Stream Deck working so I don't do that. Constantly leaving it on the wrong camera. The smell of solder is a bit like the smell of gasoline. You know it's really bad for your brain, but it smells good. I apologize, this is the most boring part of a stream, so if you've just tuned in, sorry. Not that the rest was like, just start combining building keyboards with some other thing so I can start reviewing movies while building keyboards or something so that while I'm actually doing the soldering, which is so boring, I can tell you what I thought of the latest Marvel movie or something, you know? I can already see myself accidentally missing a solder here because I'm kind of being very haphazard. Jumping around the board. It should just go top, left, right, bottom. Oh, God. Yep. Yeah, desoldering sucks. It sucks. It doesn't matter how many times you do it. I feel like I don't really get better at it. And I think part of it actually is that to be good at desoldering, you have to be good at not flowing too much solder into the pad hole while soldering, so that when you desolder, so I think we probably, what you're saying about accidentally pulling some of the metal off the PCB is the same problem I always have. I have the same problem where I will, so I just got this one. I had an older one that didn't have as great of a tip, so it was hard to get in there. But I would frequently find that I would heat up the solder, pop it off with the solder sucker, and the switch still wouldn't come out. And I would look in there and be like, I don't see any solder, but there was just enough like in the ring of the pad touching it. And so what I ended up having to do is like reheat it and then like push the pin back and forth with the solder tip to get it loose. And by the time you're done doing that, you've touched the pad so much that every time like you thought, I thought I ruined the pads. Which is like my #1 concern when I'm building a board, is that I'm gonna melt a pad or something, because every time I see somebody say like, help, I melted a pad, someone will just chime in on Reddit or on Geekhack and be like, oh, just run a wire from that pad to the pad on the C key. That will connect the columns. I have no idea. I would have to just ask. So, you know, I'd have a broken board until someone told me explicitly what to do. So, desoldering is always a fear of mine. But yeah, the PCB, I've noticed, like, with all the times that I've had to desolder because I made a dumb mistake or something, PCBs are, like, remarkably strong. Like, even when I thought, nope, I definitely burned that spot, still worked fine. I don't think I've ever actually had a real failure. I had my very first board, actually, the one that's off to the right here, the B Mini. It was my first real solder job since, like, high school. And right before I got into making my first keyboard, I actually bought Learn to Solder kit, which is like these little example projects where you just build like a little, take like a little PCB and put, you know, LEDs on it or whatever, because I was so afraid that I would get all this expensive PCB, these switches, I'd spend all this money and then I just burn the board. So I actually built a couple of those Let's Learn to Solder kits, got fairly comfortable with it, and then finally like got up the courage to do the first keyboard. And I got it working and didn't really have many problems, and it worked fine, but like a week after I made it, 2 of the keys stopped working. And I thought like, oh, well, that's it. This keyboard's garbage, I broke it. Because I had never desoldered before, and I actually didn't even, it sounds really stupid, but I didn't even know you could desolder, honestly. It wasn't even, I like looked up like how to fix a bad solder or whatever, and someone was like, just desolder it. I had never thought to do that, so I ordered a desolder gun, and that was the first time I'd ever desoldered, and honestly, it was more stressful than the soldering. But there is something to be said for the fact that once you do it once, you kind of realize that, like this, once you solder a board for the first time, and once you desolder for the first time, it's like getting a superpower in some weird way. It's like, oh, I could fix a board if I had to then, potentially. Like, so long as the schematic part, like you're saying, as long as somebody could tell me what to bridge or whatever, or so long as, you know, like the mechanics of it I could fix. I could desolder something, I could resolder it, and it was very liberating, because it felt like nothing really felt like a big risk anymore. The PCBs, an expensive PCB didn't feel like a huge potential waste of money, like if I ruined it, so. And yeah, I did it the very first time without a desoldering pump, and that was not fun at all. It was basically like, I used an LED, so I got the switch pad hot and used an LED's leg to wipe out hot solder onto the LED thing. It took like 10 attempts. And I finally got it out, but the switch that I desoldered was broken due to my work, but that wasn't so much of a concern. Thankfully, the pad itself was not. And now I'm still using that keyboard today. It still works, so. So the question I always get on Twitter and stuff is like, I want to build a custom keyboard. I like the, you know, people will like comment on the photos I post, like, I want to build a custom keyboard. Do I have to solder? I always say yes, and people go, oh, never mind. It's like, really? I don't know. It's kind of cool to be able to solder. Like, it's a really simple skill to learn, and it's neat. And I've actually used it to fix other things since I learned to solder that weren't keyboards, which was kind of fun. It's like, it's really simple, and it just takes a little bit of practice, and then you can build stuff, which is neat. So I always try to push back on like the idea of like, oh, I'm not gonna solder. It's like, well, why not? It's fun. Plus, what do you need all those brain cells for? I'm clearly killing some here right now. As much as I do like soldering, it's, you know, I get about 15 switches in and I'm like, huh, okay. Like 85 more solders to do here. I hear my dog barking down there. What time is it? Alright. Kids are coming home. Gonna have to go to bed. Gonna have to wrap this up in a minute here. And carry this on in a follow-up where I will finish this solder finish the soldering and put the thing together, because that's actually it. And I'm gonna see if I can find my electrical tape and see if electrical tape resolves the bridging of that screw-in stabilizer. And if not, I'll need to order some nylon washers to solve that, which is fine. It's just the smallest amount of nylon washers in the right size that I could find on Amazon was a pack of 5,000. Just too many. Maybe what I'll do is buy that pack of 5,000 and then just mech market some of them to other people who might need some for cheap. Because I definitely don't need 5,000 of them. Even if I were to build quite a few boards, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would ever need 5,000, considering there's only 8 or maximum 10 screws per board of screw-in stabilizers. So. Yeah, I've definitely broken switches. Desoldering. There's a paint-on paste for the wires. I forget what it's called. Ah, that's interesting. So you can paint it on the pad, and it will make it so it doesn't conduct. This is just a design flaw too. It's really silly that this has to be done. I guess people were saying that the M65A also can have shorts from screw-in stabilizers, but my M65A has screw-in stabilizers, and when I was building it, I did not notice any tolerances, but I also built it with a single backspace, and maybe my layout that I picked avoided the risk. And so I just may not have hit the same problem, because a lot of people were saying in that thread that they were having shorts as well. That's interesting. I'll look into the paste idea. That would be convenient. Honestly, in some ways, I kind of like the idea of the washers across the board, because also then you have nylon between the screw itself pushing on the PCB, which is like a metal on... It's like two hard surfaces connecting, which could add... I guess they're tight enough, it shouldn't add any sound. But the worst part of customs is I still think that stabilizers and the wires and everything are the part that I always find the most disappointing about a custom build. I can never get stabilized keys as quite as I would like. And I've tried a lot of different stuff. I mean, I band-aid them all, I lube them. And I still always feel like they're just too loud. I mean, at the end of the day, it's sort of a necessity. There's 3 moving pieces, but you're only pushing one of them, so it is what it is. But it's really unfortunate because especially if you're a fast typer, you hear that sound a lot as you're typing, the space bar specifically. And I know a lot of people use the MX Silent Black, I think is the most common one that I've seen, but I just never have them available. Maybe I should try to get some and see if it improves. Boy, there's a lot of switches. Ah, thank God I don't make full-size keyboards. This would be a real pain in the ass. Oh yeah. God, the last few... I feel bad for the last few OLKB things that have happened. Like, there was the... Was it the plank or the Prionic? Maybe it was the Prionic that, like, didn't get... Massdrop didn't get... excuse me, Massdrop didn't get FCC approval or something. Because it had a speaker in it. it needed FCC approval, and somebody had pointed that out during the like making phase or something, and some Massdrop employee came in and was like, nah, we don't need approval, we're good, and then got blocked from import or something. I love the design of the Pryonic and the Plank and all those, but I don't know, ortholinear, I tried, can't do it. And if I did it, it would be a all-in, I'd have to really commit to the ortholinear, commit to that being my layout, and then I would need to never use a standard staggered layout again, because I can't. Mentally, that's too much. Different shortcut layouts, different spacebar shortcuts and stuff, that, for some reason, my brain is more elastic to. But, I can't go ortho to staggered back and forth. I tried ortho when I built a plank. Tried it for like a month, or like a week, not a month, a week, and I felt like I couldn't do it, but I felt like I was getting better, and then I went back to staggered and was like, oh great, now I can't do this either. It's like worst of both worlds. I think it would have to be. Really? That's interesting. You know, a lot of people who are ortho people say that like it worked for them right away. And maybe it's maybe if you have that initial feeling that it feels right to you, that's probably a good sign. It just did not feel right to me at all. I think also probably it has to do with how sloppy of a typer you are. If you're a good, you know, obviously one of the benefits of the ortho is that your fingers are only traveling vertically, and that's cool, but if you're the kind of person like me, who I keep my left hand in the right spot all the time. My left hand's always on the proper home row position and travels appropriately, but my right hand is a real floater. And I just had a real hard time getting ortho to work with my right hand. I was frequently missing the Y, the U, and the I keys. Like, I just couldn't get my fingers to connect with them correctly. And it's amazing how when you type all day, every day, it's like my patience for not typing fast is so low that, like, the minute there's any slowdown, I like refuse to keep going. The other problem I have is both Pryonic and Plank. Pryonic less so, but Plank definitely is, you know, also like a 40. So it's like, for writing code all day, I find having to chord that much all the time is frustrating. That's why the Perl, I love typing on the Perl. It's such a heavy little tank, and I really enjoy it, but like I expected, I couldn't handle the fact that to make a, you know, to do, in Swift to write open brackets, open parentheses, and open curly braces was like 5 keys every time, and it's really hard to remember, and after a while it's like, okay, I'm just putting myself through torture for not much benefit, other than the fact that it's a cool looking keyboard. I'm always jealous of people who type on 40s all day long, like the fact that you can, and people who are like, oh yeah, I use Vim. Oh, see, I missed a key. People who use Vim and type on a 40 all day long. That's cool. It's totally cool, but yeah, I just 60 is basically the smallest I can go, and 60 is very comfortable. Get them all. All right, cool. Just make sure it works. Oh, Jesus. Forgot I was plugging it into the computer that's streaming. I'll start flipping out on the screen. Let's just hit some keys here. Okay, that's not good. Okay. Okay, I definitely have some things bridged here because I've got...
We got millions of reasons.
Huh. What the hell's going on here? You know, I think I accidentally entered a layer on this thing. What's going on here? Uh-oh. What the hell is happening? Alright, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I'm a little nervous that that's gonna press something I don't want it to press. Let's go back to the surface for this. Yeah, definitely. I can't imagine going back to a keyboard that I can't completely choose every single aspect of programming and everything. Alright, let's try it on this one. Hopefully it will work. Wake up, Surface. Looking for you. Yes, it's you. Okay. I think I was accidentally holding a key down when I started up that time. What the hell? Nope, I definitely have a short here. Looks like Alt. Yeah, Alt is shorted here. Wow, what's going on here? Let's just try keyboard test and see what's going on here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, this is something is stuck here. Okay, actually, something's just... What is happening here? Like, every computer I plug this into is now malfunctioning. Now my Surface keyboard is not working. What on earth? You know, I think it's because the Alt key is bridged and it's just entering. All right, let's try this. Okay. Q. W doesn't work. Uh-oh. What? Oh, the mapping is wrong, I see. Okay, this is a better sign now. Alright, I've got a column that doesn't work, that's what it is. And I think it's because of the... Okay. Interesting. Huh. Yep, it's definitely a column that's not working. Alright, so I'm gonna have to... I'm hoping the column is being shorted by the left shift. But it'll have to wait for another stream. Boy, that's annoying. Try to debug it off stream and see if I can figure it out. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully I will resolve the bridging problem. I'm hoping it's related to the screw-in stabilizer there. If it is, then it does look like it's touching, so can hopefully fix that, and then I'll do another stream tomorrow-ish and finish it up. Thank you very much, and have a good night.